I'd like to welcome you on behalf of Caravan and Aleph Books. I'm going to start by just telling you a little bit about the book and then about the author. So, between March and December 1971, the Pakistani army committed atrocities on an unplanned eastern wing. Pakistani troops and their collaborators were responsible for countless deaths and cases of rape. Religion alone wasn't enough to keep Pakistan's two halves united. 4 decades later, as Bangladesh tried to bring some accountability and closure to its blood-soaked past through controversial tribunals prosecuting war crimes, Salil Tripathi traveled the length and breadth of this country, probing its trauma through interviews with hundreds of Bangladeshis. His book offers the reader an unforgettable portrait of a nation whose political history since independence has been marked more by tragedy than triumph. Salil has been a correspondent in India, Singapore, and Hong Kong. He appeared in several publications, including the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, New York, and Far Eastern Economic Review. His writing has won a Bassett Prize and the Citibank Pan Asia Journalism Award. He's also a contributing editor at Mint and at Caravan. In conversation with Salil today will be Basharat. Basharat is a journalist and author, a political commentator. He's written for various publications as well, including The New Yorker and Caravan. And he is the author of Curfew Night. So I think first I'd like to ask you to release the book.
That's your book. This is truth the other way. Every time they get a minister, this time we'll get Philip Mark. He wrote it.
Let it fly.
Yeah.
And you better do the other one. Since according to Bombay Times, Basharat is a Pakistani actor, in the context of India-Pakistan solidarity, I asked Basharat to act.
I'm a perfect cricketer. The film industry there is rather not in that view.
And I think we'll start with reading and then just flow into the conversation.
You have to say something.
Yeah.
Order.
So I think the plan is that I'm going to read a little bit and then we're going to have a conversation and a couple more things that I will read from. But first of all, thank you very much. This is in the week of one of the most important days in Bangladesh's history, because yesterday, as many of us will remember, was what Bangladesh called the Bijoy Diwas, the day Pakistani army surrendered. And 2 days before that, of course, was the killing of the intellectuals on the 14th and 15th of December. So it's a very poignant time of Bangladesh's history. It's the 43rd year since then. It's a war many of us remember well in India because of the sacrifice India undertook, but far more sacrifices were actually made by people in Pakistan, and I wanted to learn more about it. In Bangladesh, and I wanted to learn more about it, and which is what brought this book. Who is a colonel who would not repent, and why? Many people have asked me that question. My answer is that it is, of course, Colonel Farooq Rahman, the man who assassinated or planned the assassination of Mujibur Rahman. But as a review today in Dhaka Tribune points out by Afsan Chaudhry, it's not colonel. Everybody in Bangladesh who's in an elite situation, nobody repents. And that's part of the problem of Bangladesh's history, which is the point he's making. So I'll read from the first part, then we'll talk, and then. And this is a book, and I mean, it has a connection, very strong connection with the magazine, which is also involved with the launch today, Caravan, because this book would not have been written if I hadn't met Farooq Rahman, probably in 1986, and then he was executed in 2010, which got me to write a piece for Caravan, and that brought about that piece. And after that, of course, David here, who is here, David, he got interested in that, and we put together the idea of how to structure the book, and this is what it is. So, a little more than a quarter century ago, I met a man who calmly told me how he had organized the massacre of a family. There was no sense of remorse in his confession. He was bragging about it, even grinning as he spoke to me. I was a young reporter at that time on assignment in Dhaka, trying to figure out what had gone wrong with Bangladesh. 15 years earlier, as a schoolboy in India, I had followed its blood-splattered struggle for independence. I remembered the images of 10 million people who had crossed the border seeking refuge in India. I had collected funds for the refugees by staging a play in Bombay, as the city I grew up in was known at that time. We shouted Joy Bangla, the Bangladeshi cry for war in